Good evening, everyone. You are in the spotlight with Brian Gardner for this Thursday, January the 26th, 2017. Good to have you all here for our second of three shows this week. Um, Tonight, obviously, was an important deadline for the 7th Annual In the Spotlight Film Awards. The deadline for the nomination ballots for the Film Awards was at 9 o'clock from Eastern Time tonight. I have been told that we have received them all based on the ballot request that we sent out. So that's good. You all met the deadline, so I don't have to keep reminding you or extend the deadline. So that's good. So the nomination ballots have all been submitted. The deadline has passed. And in a week from tonight, which is next, what is it? Let's see, 27, 29, 30, 31st. Next, I have to remember the dates. It's weird. Next week's one of those weird weeks, but I can't remember the dates. Next Thursday, February the 2nd, we will announce the nominees for the 7th Annual In the Spotlight Film Awards. So that'll be a huge show for us, obviously. So thank you to all those that participated. And we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting nomination slate this year. And also, we will announce the categories for the live voted awards. Those awards you can vote on live during the In the Spotlight Film Awards. And, those that haven't been able to participate in the awards process, this is your chance to get involved. And you can do that by participating in the live vote awards. We'll give you those categories that you can decide the nominees for, and also decide. And of course, you can vote on them throughout the awards show when we host it. So keep all that information be provided for you a week from tonight. So keep all that in mind. All right, as always, we'd like to start the show by reminding you all the ways in which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. And again, please, for anything you tweet regarding our show, use the hashtag itspotlight411. And since this is a wrestling show, which we haven't done too much of lately, you can also use hashtag itswrestling if you wish. Also on Facebook, to find us on Facebook, search for In the Spotlight 411. And then once you find our fan page, make sure that you like it. All right. So tonight is an all wrestling show that will be previewing WWE's Royal Rumble pay-per-view, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, probably the second biggest, right next to obviously WrestleMania. So it's obviously a big deal. So that will be our whole show tonight. So we'll preview the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, go over all the matches, including the Royal Rumble, make predictions, also address questions and comments from you, the fans. If you have not submitted a question or comment already, you may do so during the show as well, as we will take from both those that submitted before the show and those that submitted during the show. So, if you want to submit one via Facebook, email, or Twitter, please feel free to do so. And that will be our show tonight. Very easy, very straightforward. We haven't done too many of these lately because the last pay-per-view, I think, was way back in early mid-December. So it's been a while. And now with the brand split, we don't tend to do too many all wrestling shows because this is too difficult. So we don't do them. So that will be our agenda tonight. Now tomorrow, of course, as I mentioned earlier this week, will be the last edition of the In the Spotlight Football Blitz for this season. So tomorrow will be it. After tomorrow, the football coverage will move to our primetime show for the next 2 weeks as we talk about the Super Bowl and all that stuff. So bear that in mind. So tomorrow will be the last edition of the In the Spotlight Football Blitz. That's scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So keep that, again, that could be a little later or, give or take. So keep that in mind. Again, after tomorrow, our football coverage we do have will be moved to our usual primetime shows on Tuesday and Thursday as needed. So just keep that in mind. That's what's coming up tomorrow. As I try to type this into my computer and it does not want to cooperate. It's so mean to me. All right. So that's tomorrow. Now, next week, we got 2 shows. We're back down to 2 shows, Tuesday and Thursday, both in prime time, 9 o'clock from Eastern Time. And on Tuesday, we'll be doing a sports entertainment combo show. I'll explain why in a moment. I think I kind of already did. So box office beat, TV highlights, all the usual sports coverage, including some football as we preview the Super Bowl, all that on Tuesday. On Thursday, the whole show will be devoted to announcing the 7th annual In the Spotlight Film Award nominations. So that's what we'll be doing on Thursday. Obviously, the nomination ballots have all been submitted tonight. So that will be what we do next Thursday. So that's what we got going on and next week. And so it'll be a big week on the show next week for sure. I'm trying to type this up at the same time as I'm trying to talk to you, so bear with me as I try to do that. And now I'm okay, so don't worry. Now, I can welcome Mike in the spotlight. Mike, how you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic, good. All right, briefly, as we start the show, we'll be getting into wrestling and everything.
I hold something in front of the camera, and you don't acknowledge it. So, Brian, right there, buddy. Right there.
That's because I'm busy posting links. I'm not really paying attention to the stuff you hold on the camera. So hold it up again, please. Now that I know you're hosting.
It's literally in front of the camera.
I see it now. Yes.
That's my middle finger for your ignorance right there, bud.
That's awesome. Yes. It's not ignorance. I was busy.
Ignorance. Now, while I have your attention, the old Hasbro WWF figures that, have been out for forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since they've been out. The old Hasbros, those little plastic ones that make the movements, Mattel re-released them. Well, they're not re-released new ones because why not? And
sure.
the new figures in the set are Roman Reigns, Boo, Bork Laser, Raw, John Cena, because he's John Cena, you can't see me, and of course, and of all the other guys, Kevin Owens now has a Mattel / Hasbro old-timey WWF Hasbro action figure, and you can buy them at Walmart, believe it or not, because that's where I found that one. You could buy it on eBay, but you're going to be paying out your asshole, and don't do that. So I was very excited to find one of the 3 Kevin Owens left at my local Walmart.
That had to make your day.
Do you know who they had a lot of? Roman Reigns.
Oh, you don't say.
Because nobody was buying Roman Reigns. There were a couple of John Cena's, as of course, and there were a couple of Brock Lesnar's, but they had a lot of Roman Reigns.
You don't say.
They haven't released the retro ones yet, which are just Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker. Although I don't remember my old Undertaker figure having the pose or the action motion that this one does. That this one does. By the way, Kevin Owens has a pop-up powerbomb motion.
Oh.
So if you put his arms up with another figure in it, it'll just go down immediately. So it's a pop-up powerbomb motion.
That's cool.
Roman Reigns has the Superman fist motion, which means his arm will go back like this and spring forward. And John Cena has the John Cena motion in that you can't see him. And Brock Lesnar, of course, has the Jimmy John motion, which is just him putting a Jimmy John to his face, and you can just smack it into the plastic.
Huh. Wow. It's been a great week for you, Mike. Kingdom Hearts and a Kevin Owens figure.
What do you think I was doing long before? Not even long. Before you called me. In fact, the reason why I didn't respond to my Hangout summon immediately.
Sure.
Because I was playing Kingdom Hearts, and I'm getting better at it because it's based off of a different system that I haven't played in a while. So I'm getting back used to it, getting that muscle memory going again, and I was having fun. And then I got no. Oh my god, darn it! There's Brian again. Fine. So here we are.
All right. So that's cool to know if you Kevin Owens fans out there.
So they're available at Walmart for the low price of $9.99, which is almost what they were back in the early 90s when I was playing with them as a kid.
Yeah.
Back in, yep.
Um,
So, very nice throwback. I like it. It's gonna. I don't know. I might have to get another one to play with. This is in the package to go with the Kevin Owens Elite figure that is over there. That has the NXT title.
Okay. So before we get into wrestling and the Rumble and all that stuff, going to take a minute for a little bit of an entertainment story tonight because obviously there was some sad news yesterday to report. And we've lost another icon, Mary Tyler Moore, who, you might find some people that are not really familiar with her, which is kind of odd to say. My wife is one of them. She knows Carol Burnett. She knows, but she doesn't really know Barry Harper or Mary Tyler Moore. Mary Tyler Moore, in many ways, was emblematic of the modern woman. She, you had the Mary Tyler Moore show. She kind of brought that idea of the modern woman to audiences. She had a long battle with diabetes. I think they said she passed away from pneumonia. I think I might have heard that. So she was 80 years old. Now, again, she's had a vast career. Obviously, she's going to be known for her own show. She was on Dick Van Dyke's show first. Then she moved on to her own show, which was a tremendous hit. And most notably, her credits, her opening credits were iconic in a lot of ways. She's appeared in various musical and variety specials. Her career was just very, very vast. In recent years, I think she did an episode of Hot in Cleveland, among other things, just guest spots, did some theater too. I remember she was on Ellen as a guest in the 90s too. I remember that. But it's a very vast career. She did a little bit of films too. I know she started off as Elvis Presley in a film in the 60s. I know that much. Just generally, again, especially if you're somebody that grew up in the 60s, 70s, you knew who she was big time, that she was everywhere you looked. But even for those of us that grew up in the late 80s, 90s, etc., you'd be familiar with her. She was an icon, and the modern woman was very much represented with her, both in television and in lifestyle. And she is a tremendous, tremendous loss for all she did for not only entertainment, but for women in general. And she fought very hard for, diabetes and everything, and all the issues related to that. Just a huge, huge loss. And our condolences go to her family, friends, and loved ones. And may she rest in peace. She is, again, a very funny woman, and a very, very I don't use this term very often because I'm not a big fan of it, but a fierce woman that just was. She'll be remembered. Trust me. She's she's a person that, when you think of icons, she's one of them. She's just, for all that the impact she had, just tremendous. So, Mike, do you have anything to add?
Mary Tyler Moore was one of the pioneers of sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
She was especially a big pioneer of women in sitcom. Her show kind of made it okay to address big issues for women. Her show made it okay to say, all right, well, she's a single woman trying to make it in the world, and she's respected. Like, it was almost unheard of to have like a women unmarried in early era sitcoms like that. Almost unheard of. And Mary Tyler Moore's show made it okay, and her production company was very, very, very prolific. Had a lot of hits. A lot of hits. They sold that thing for a lot of money a long time ago. Mary Tyler Moore, one of the greats in sitcom. When I saw it yesterday, I was like, wait, no. That was my reaction. I'm like, no, Mary Tyler Moore? It was very, 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 very Sad to see her go. She lived a vibrant life. Complications from diabetes and pneumonia took her at the end. She was apparently mostly blind at the end there, but it's a sad day. 2017 took its first icon, its first pioneer in Mary Tyler Moore, and it's sad, but she had a vibrant life well lived. And she did a lot of important, because without Mary Tyler Moore, you don't have Ellen DeGeneres.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have half the cast of Friends. You don't have Hot in Cleveland, the Golden Girls. You don't have the Golden Girls because that's where Betty White got her start, was the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Right.
So you don't have, without Mary Tyler Moore, you don't have all of these great women sitcoms, all these brilliant women sitcoms and women in sitcoms. She made it okay. She made it normal for women to have their own lives outside of their husbands and their kids, you know? So she was outstanding. And this is a big, big loss for Hollywood. Big, big loss for, you know, our culture in general. So, you know, may she rest in peace, and we're grateful for all she's done and all the laughs she provided, and what a life well lived.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so with that, we'll move into the wrestling portion of the show. Now, this is always an interesting preview because obviously so much of this is going to be about the Rumble, which is going to be the main event. We know that going in. It's just, you know, and so there's not a whole lot of matches. 2 of the matches are going to be on the kickoff show. 3 of the matches, I should say, are going to be on the kickoff show. So we'll talk about those matches first, and then move to the main card. And I don't expect anything to be added, to be honest, because as Mike knows, you know, the Rumble needs at least a full hour. So you're probably looking at, you know, only 2 matches I see getting a lot of time are the Owens Reigns and the Cena Styles match. Those matches will get time. Everything else will get like a reasonable amount of time, and that's about it. So we'll start off with the kickoff matches, and then we'll work our way around. We'll start first with this random SmackDown women's match that was added to the card on SmackDown Tuesday. Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. I'll start this, and I'll move very quickly because there ain't a whole lot to talk about with this match. First of all, it's just a way for them to get around the fact that let's get these women on the card, and they don't want to have the SmackDown title defended yet because first of all, they just did it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I think that was their way of like, okay, we defended it, now we don't have to have both title matches, both titles defended on the show, which is fine. They just want to get these women on the card. Plus, Mickie James back, so you want to get her on the card too. My thinking is that Team Alexa is going to win here, because I think for Mickie James' first pay-per-view match, I think they want the heel side of things to keep getting a little bit of a push here. I'm thinking Mickie James pinning Naomi. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think they're going to want Mickie to look strong here. You know, Alexa's had the title for a couple months. She doesn't really need it. Natalya and this Nikki Bella thing, I think, is going to continue maybe another month. So they might not factor in. Naomi's the odd one out here, and Mickie James, I think they're going to want to have the pin here. So I think it'll be a fun match. You know, good for them getting them on the card. And I think this ends with Team Alexa winning, Mickie probably pinning Naomi. That's what I think. Mike?
You know what? I would agree with you. There's not a whole lot I have to say about this, because I haven't been really, honest to God, paying attention to SmackDown. So, my bad. But long story short, Mickie James just came back. They're going to want people to think she's a threat, and Naomi's dispensable at this point. Even though she had a lot of hype, she got injured, and then she came back. So she is dispensable at this point. They don't want Nikki Bella to fall, and Becky Lynch is probably going to get the title back fairly shortly. So in the end, Mickey's probably going to pin Naomi, or Alexa's going to pin Naomi, but Team Alexa is going to take the win here. It's what? It's Alexa, Mickey, and Natalia?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they didn't find a role for Carmella here, but that's okay. But I'm going to take Team Bliss to take the victory, because why not?
Next up, we got Raw Tag Team Champions Cesaro and Sheamus versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, or the Club. Mike?
Oh, this is the match with 2 referees to make sure we don't have a compromised finish. You know what always happens in this situation? You usually end up with almost a compromised finish, but in this case, I don't think we're going to get it. I think Sheamus and Cesaro are going to retain. It's a little early in their run. They had their renewed a rematch. They're going to have this is the blowout match with the Club, but they're going to have a match with another random team at whatever it is. Fastlane. They're going to have a match with a random team at Fastlane. There's going to be a multi-guy match at WrestleMania, I'd imagine. But I think Sheamus and Cesaro are still hot. They're still interested in their tag team. So this is it. Sheamus and Cesaro are going to retain. They've been kind of running this thing where Sheamus has been getting. So have Cesaro get the pin.
Yeah.
But you never know. But one thing is for sure, doesn't matter how many referees, Sheamus and Cesaro are going to win this match.
Obviously, the whole idea of the 2 referee thing is going to play into something, because that's why it's there. I would not be the least bit surprised if they tried to extend this one more match for Fastlane. Because I don't know if they're going to want to bother establishing another number 1 contender. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they will. I mean, you might be right. Like, I think it's a 50-50 chance. Either way, I think they're retaining. I don't think they're losing it here. But I think that there's a possibility that they just, because don't bother with another number 1 contender right now. So I could see some situation where this whole 2 ref thing leads to a kind of dusty finish kind of deal again.
Yeah, another dusty finish. What are the odds?
I know, but I hope, in a way, I hope it doesn't, because I would like to see maybe another team get a chance at him before Mania. Because here's the thing, I'm so down on anything to do with the Club, and that's sad because I like Gallows and I like Anderson, but they've done nothing to build them. There was no attempt to build them back up. It was just, here you go after Cesaro and Sheamus, and you can't buy into that. You can't. There's nothing. I think you said it. The best thing for them is to get moved to SmackDown.
Oh yeah.
So they can have a nice long build, and then maybe then you give them the SmackDown tag team titles, and then that way you give them something, because what's been done to them for the last year has really hurt their credibility, and that's why you look at them versus Cesaro and Sheamus at this point. You just don't buy it. It's the same way you didn't buy him against the New Day. There's no credibility. So I think this will be a cool match to watch. All 4 guys are great workers, and it'll be a cool match to watch. The 2 ref thing's going to play into it somehow, probably to extend this feud, I'd imagine. But either way, Cesaro and Sheamus are going to retain. It would be nice if Cesaro did get the pin. I would advocate for that. But regardless of who gets it, they're winning. They're retaining, I think. So next up, we have Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. I expect this to be the shortest of the 3 kickoff matches. I think Nia's going to squash Sasha Banks. Now, there's some weird things going on. We're probably going to talk about it later with Sasha Banks and a couple of the SmackDown divas teasing like BL 2017. I thought might meant Becky Lynch, push her in 2017. I don't know what's going on there. There's been all kinds of rumors over the last few months that Sasha wants to be moved to SmackDown. I don't know if anything's going to factor in with that. All I know is this match is designed to build up Nia Jax. With Sasha Banks, being a 3-time champion and having been in that Charlotte feud, this is a way to do that. I expect Nia to. I shouldn't say outright squash her. They'll let Sasha get a little bit of offense in, but I think it's going to be a dominant Nia Jax win. because she needs that. She hasn't had a feud. This is really her first sustained feud. So I think Nia wins this very easily here. And probably the quickest match of the kickoff matches. Mike, go ahead.
There's not a whole lot to get Nia Jackson a win over a credible opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's nothing really more to say. Nia's probably going to win here. It's going to be short. It's going to play to Nia's strengths. It's not like Nia's in there wrestling Asuka.
Right.
I hate to say that. I hate to say that about Sasha Banks because she is very good, but she's not Asuka good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Asuka plays more to her strengths anyway. But you know what? Maybe they can have a nice short match. So I'm going to have Sasha losing here to Nia Jax. There's a shocker.
Yeah. Now we move to the main card. And we'll start off with the WWE Cruiserweight Champion, Rick Swann, versus Neville. Mike?
Oh, Lord. Well, they have literally been building for the last month or so. Neville coming back, taking the Cruiserweight title, and being the king of the Cruiserweights, mate. He's going to be the king of the Cruiserweights. That was terrible. I can't do a Cockney accent. Or a Geordie accent, excuse me. It's a Geordie accent. So don't get on me for that one, people. It's a Geordie accent. Not a Geordie. I'm from America, damn it. So, look, Swann's had a good run. And I will say that he's had some development. So I'm okay with Rich Swann winning here, but he's not going to. Neville's going to win the Cruiserweight title, and he's going to carry that bad boy into WrestleMania, where they're going to have somebody else take it off of him, like maybe Jack Gallagher. Or more than likely to just be a big ladder match or something.
Right.
Where he wouldn't have to get pinned clean. So, I'm going to say Neville is going to win here.
I would agree. I think Neville is going to win. The only problem I have with what's going on here is they're hot-shotting this title around way too much.
Yeah, well, I agree.
And I guess I can't really blame them because, look, right now they're finally starting to go in a good direction with the Cruiserweights. People are starting to react to them, and that's because they know Neville, so his heel turn resonated with them. Rick Swann has personality. He resonated with the crowd almost immediately. Brian Kendrick was the one guy that was the only heel you had, and one of the only guys that got a reaction when you first started this thing. So flipping the title to Kendrick off Perkins, who was struggling, was the right move, and then flipping the title from Kendrick to Swann was again the right move, because you would have liked to have you had to identify a face to get over. So now I think that there's Swann, I think, is over to a point. You want to kind of establish Neville because you need another top heel. So you flip the title to Neville. So now you've established Neville, Kendrick, and Swann. You have three guys here.
And to a lesser extent, Arya Daivari.
Right. So you're finally getting somewhere here. It was rough at first, but you're finally getting somewhere. So I can understand. I don't like the fact that they're hot-shotting, but at the same time, I understand why they've done it. Like, every decision they made, I've understood. So I guess that makes it more tolerable. It's not like I don't think they would have liked to have done it this way, but I think that they've had to do it this way. And I think you're right. First of all, I think this is going to be a really fun match to watch. I think this is a great direction for Neville. It's made him come alive as a character. It's been very effective for him. Swann, it's brought in a lot of good things out of Rick Swann. I mean, it's made him more aggressive. It's given him that necessary edge. So I'm expecting a fun play to the crowd kind of match here. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Neville's going to win the Cruiserweight title. Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair versus Bayley. This is the first time in a long time, and I'm not just saying that because it's not Sasha Banks, okay? That feud needed to end. All right, it did. I'm saying this because Bayley has been awful. All right, particularly in promos. Her promos, even the scripted ones where she has time to prepare, have been awful. She is not helping herself. Yes, she's getting over with kids, which we all knew she would. All right, and I'm not even going to blame her ring work. Her ring work hasn't been that bad. It's not that, but her character is really strong. And this was the fear with Bayley. That's why I think they kept her down in NXT for so long. They were afraid of how it would go over and how she would go over in the company. And she's struggling. She's struggling with her character, and she's struggling to get over. You know, she's always going to get over with kids. And there's always going to be some guys that go, oh, she's adorable, hug her, you know. But, I mean, to get her over to the point where she should be, it's going to be a rough go, I think. You know, and you know, you would think that this feud with Charlotte would help give her that necessary edge. She had that at NXT. She developed that at NXT. She had it for a little while, but she's lost it, and she hasn't gotten it back. You would think this feud with Charlotte would bring that out of her, but it hasn't. And you know, at this point, it hurts the investment in this match. Yeah, Bayley beat Charlotte twice. We all know that. But the fact that they also got away from Bayley after she was, you know, promoted heavily when she first made the main roster doesn't help either. I don't see a I don't see a situation here where Charlotte doesn't win, because they're pushing this pay-per-view streak. I think that I don't think Charlotte's gonna lose this title to Mania at the earliest. I don't. I don't think she's gonna lose to Bayley. Bayley's not nearly over enough right now to pull this off. I don't expect a clean finish. I expect Charlotte to do something to win, cheat to win here. But I'm expecting Charlotte to be. It won't be a bad match, but the investment's is hurt by the factors I mentioned. So, but yeah, I expect Charlotte to retain, not clean, but to retain nonetheless. Mike?
Look, Bayley's been fine, but her promos on the main roster have been kind of trash. The thing with Bayley is I think they brought her up too soon, because after a hot minute, there was nothing for her to do. And your dog's barking like a bitch. It's funny because she's a female dog. Anyways.
Oh, God.
Anyways, the problem with Bayley is they brought her up and she had nothing to do. And then after that, it's like, well, she floundered. And when she finally got some time on the mic on the episode, she was awful. She was awful on Raw Talk, where their Lita, who tried helping her, God bless her, she ate Bayley alive on that show. And then Bayley has struggled with promos for the last couple months. It hurts to watch because Bayley has a lot of promise. I mean, the last promo she had about the whole poetry thing was a little bit, you know, contrived, but it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good. But it wasn't terrible, you know? So, I mean, there's highs and lows, but the highs aren't very high and the lows are really low. So Bayley's promo skills have really kind of hurt her as a product. Charlotte has just been amazing.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Charlotte's just been amazing. Charlotte is not dropping this title until WrestleMania. 100%, she's not dropping it until WrestleMania.
Right.
If Bayley is going to win, she's going to win it. And between January and April, Bayley better learn how to cut a money promo. Because it's not happening here. She's not winning the title here. Charlotte might lose by disqualification. Bayley might lose because Dana Brooke. Don't know how it's going to happen, but Charlotte's going to beat Bayley here on pay-per-view to retain the women's title.
I'm going to be fair here. Charlotte shouldn't lose it right now.
Nope.
So, I mean, you built her up, the streak up and everything. You might as well make it matter when she finally does. So, all right, next up on the card here is, well, a match that I could even see opening the show because depending on what they're going to do with it, the WWE Universal Champion, Kevin Owens, versus Roman Reigns in a no disqualification match with Chris Jericho suspended above the ring in a shark cage. Talk about overbooked.
Talk about overbooked and talk about we gotta protect Roman.
Yeah, it is your turn, so go ahead.
I know you're so nice and save these Kevin Owens and Sheamus matches for me. Appreciate it.
I feel you. Yep.
And occasionally the Becky Lynch ones too.
I try to. Yeah.
So okay, this is an overbooked mess. Roman Reigns hasn't eaten a clean loss since Finn Balor. Isn't it time Roman Reigns lose clean? Survey says yes. Vince will say no. I really would like Roman Reigns to lose clean here. Kind of put over Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens going into WrestleMania season needs to start looking like the vicious killer that he was in NXT. And unfortunately, we're not going to get that because Roman Reigns has to look strong because he's Roman Reigns and blah, 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 blah. Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns and Roman fucking Reigns. We're tired of Roman fucking Reigns. All right? Chris Jericho's in the shark cage with the U.S. title. Great. You know?
Yeah.
He can't do very much. What I think is going to happen is whatever Roman's next feud is going to screw Roman Reigns. Whether it's Braun Strowman, The Undertaker, Bret the Hitman Hart, Earthquake, may he rest in peace, or Betty White. I don't care. But Roman Reigns is not going to be winning the title here. So I am going to say Kevin Owens will win lots of shenanigans, no DQ match. Now, this is a 60-40 pick. In that I am not confident in this pick because they can always go Roman Reigns. And like, well, all right, we're just going to put the title on Roman here. I can see it. But the reason why I think the no DQ stipulation is involved was because they don't want Roman losing clean. They want to protect him for his WrestleMania match.
Right.
So Roman, and I don't, from what I understand, I don't know what Roman's WrestleMania match is, but I don't believe it deals with the title. Because whoever it is, whether it's John Cena, whether it's The Undertaker, whether it's Dean Ambrose, whether it's whomever, I think he deals with the title. I think the title stays on Kevin Owens through WrestleMania. And depending on who Kevin Owens wrestles, it might stick on Kevin Owens past WrestleMania.
Right.
So we don't know. But I am going to say Kevin Owens retains here by lots of crook. Chris Jericho will probably get involved at some point. But in the end, KO is going to retain the title. Roman's not going to be pinned clean. But if you're a fan of Kevin Owens like I am, you're going to be sitting on your hands and sitting on the edge of your seat all night, all match. And you'd be like, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn, oh damn, the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think fans of quality wrestling will probably be like that too, because you know what will happen and could happen.
Here's the thing, okay? Once you get to this match and then the WWE Championship match in the Rumble, it is so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
It is crazy how unpredictable this is. This is the first time in a number of years that is unpredictable. There's been conflicting reports. There's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties here. And, a big factor could be Finn Balor. Because if Finn Balor, there's a talk that he has, if Finn Balor gets cleared, and he ends up coming back to win the Rumble, that title has to stay with Kevin Owens. No way, shape, or form around it, because they're not going to have Finn face Roman Reigns again. They're not going to do that. They're going to want Finn to take it off of a heel. So, that's a huge component to all of this right now. And there's also the idea of whatever Roman Reigns' program is. There's a lot of talk that it's The Undertaker. Well, it was said that Undertaker's match would not be a title match. So,
which plays into the decision of Roman Reigns not having the U.S. title.
Now, but that also makes me think, with this match being before the Rumble, I don't see a reason for Undertaker to interfere in this match. You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
So my thinking would be that the interference would have to come from something that's not related to necessarily this match. Maybe it's a Seth Rollins interference, just to effort things because he's not in the Rumble. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's, Braun Strowman just gets freaked out and decides to destroy everything in sight. Maybe I've seen one theory where Chris Jericho somehow, they find a way to get him out of the cage, or I don't know. There's a lot of different things going around. This is one match because of the fact that I think this WrestleMania card, regardless of Reigns as champion or not, is going to be okay because they have more choices this year, as opposed to last year when they had to put all their eggs into the Roman Reigns basket because everybody else was hurt. I'm going into this expecting the worst because this is a big pay-per-view. I didn't do this last month because I didn't see a way for them to, you know what I mean? It was a B pay-per-view. This is an A pay-per-view. And I don't want to jinx this because I do think there's reasons to think Owens retains, but I also think there's reasons to think that Reigns could pull this out. So I am making this pick with the idea that I just do not want to jinx what I think would be the right decision. I think this will be these two have very good ring chemistry, but I don't think this match is going to be as good as it could be because of the fact there's just too much going on. It's going to be more of a storyline, like let's just push this forward kind of deal. You know what I mean? Interference, the theatrics of Jericho. And that's my problem with this whole run of these last few months. There's been too much of interference. It's just ruining the matches. It's just too much crap. But nonetheless, hopefully we get beyond that here. I'm picking Roman Reigns to win the Universal title. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's what I'm going to go with. So, next up, the WWE Champion AJ Styles versus John Cena. I am looking forward to this match. This is going to be a phenomenal match. It'll get a lot of time. It's going to be a phenomenal match. I'm not just saying because AJ Styles is in it.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am. Cena's been great. This whole feud, these two have had great chemistry. It's done a great job of like the Punk feud, where it kind of blurs the lines between the promos of like reality and storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Cena's character has been great. His promos have been great. It's obviously a weak spot with AJ. If you saw Tuesday night, you know what I mean. But AJ more than makes up for it with his wrestling ability. I expect a very lengthy match. I expect a good match. And my pick is going to be AJ Styles beating John Cena. If you asked me a couple weeks ago when it looked like Cena was probably going to face The Undertaker, I would have said John Cena. Right now, I think since that feud appears to be not happening, I think AJ Styles is going to retain. And boy, will that be something. Can you imagine that? That'd be the fourth time AJ went over Cena.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he might need it after what happened with Ellsworth, but still, I think that's unheard of. But I think AJ Styles over John Cena. Mike?
All right. I don't know who's going to win this match. I honestly don't. Because up until a week ago, I like you was like, hey, you know who's gonna win this match? John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I was confident in saying John Cena was going to win this match because that meant that there's no because I think there are enough guys backstage who know if you're gonna have John Cena and Roman Reigns in championship matches on the same night, they both can't win.
Yeah.
They both absolutely cannot win, or else you have ruined the crowd. So this is where we are. If Kevin Owens and AJ Styles win, the crowd will be very happy. The crowd will be very happy. There is actually no downside to having Owens and Styles win. In fact, it does nothing but helps your booking. Especially since because look, either Roman or Cena is probably going to get The Undertaker. And The Undertaker match is not going to have the title. And I'm leaning towards Roman at this point because everything is telling me that's Roman versus Taker. And if that's the case, Roman's not taking the title. And I think at this point, Roman taking the title would earn a more negative crowd backlash. And it would probably mean a greater chance of your pay-per-view getting hijacked by the crowd and ruining it. So, but if it's Cena, I think at this point it's not that bad. They can't have them both win the same night. In fact, Roman shouldn't even be in this match. That should be Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens. Period. But I'm talking about Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. And I don't even think this should be the match. I think it should be AJ Styles versus John Cena versus The Miz. The Miz should be in this match. If only to take the pin. Even though that would be such a disservice to The Miz right now. If only to take the pin. But we don't, so we got another one-on-one match, and AJ's right. Your brother-in-law gifted you another opportunity. He's not wrong. So, I'm going to go with John Cena here. I don't know if he wins the title, but I think he wins the match. Because I don't know if they're going to have AJ go over him a fourth time. Yes, he needs it after the Ellsworth nonsense, but AJ had a good match with Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin. So you kind of forget about it. But I think John Cena will win. And this is a 51-49 pick. I'm not confident in this one at all. It could go either way. And I think chance AJ could retain the title. Because it doesn't matter, because I think unless Cena's fighting Undertaker for the belt, or unless Cena's feud is winning the Royal Rumble, I think it does SmackDown no disservice to have AJ retain the title and lose it in the Elimination Chamber. Especially since, a couple guys could be winning the Rumble.
Right.
A couple different guys. I have my feelings, but who knows? But I think John Cena will win this match. And it's 50-50 on whether or not he's the champion. So I'd be saying Cena by DQ. But you never know. A Super AA here or there could mean a title change. So John Cena to win maybe the title?
You bring up a good point though, because they do have the chamber in 2 weeks. They could always just run an unclean finish here and just have the Cena thing kind of go into the chamber.
Yeah.
And then have AJ, if they want AJ to drop it, he can drop it there without getting pinned.
Well, he'd have to get pinned.
Or get pinned, but you're also getting pinned in the chamber. It makes a little bit of a difference. So I always forget that. But anyway, we'll see. It's gonna be a good match. Finally, the main event, the Royal Rumble. I'm not going to go over every single participant. I think we know 22 of the 30 at this point. But we know some of the big heavy hitters that are in there: Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Sami Zayn, Big Show, all members of the New Day, the Wyatts, Randy Orton. We know some of the big names that are in there. So we have the Royal Rumble. Which I'm going to throw to Mike to start because it's his turn. So, Mike, your thoughts on this Royal Rumble match? Well, you can do it any way you want to do it. It's a different kind of match to talk about for sure. So,
this match is so unpredictable to pick. It hurts. Because there are previous years where it's like, well, there was a clear-cut favorite, and 2012 it was Sheamus, and 2011 it was Alberto Del Rio, then it was Batista, and then it was Roman Reigns. So I mean, there in previous years there were clear-cut favorites to win the Rumble. This year there's not a favorite. In fact, I don't know if they even thought about who was going to win the Rumble. Because, look, they usually book the Rumble winner back in August, and it usually reflects in the booking. Traditionally, it's back in August. See, 2012. So for those of you who still think Chris Jericho is going to win that Rumble, no. Sheamus was always booked to win the Rumble long before Chris Jericho came back.
That's right.
Much like Alberto Del Rio was always booked to win the Rumble. The only reason why he lost at WrestleMania because Edge was retiring. They wanted to feel a good moment for Edge. So this is where we are. Now, who was the Rumble winner last year was Triple H. He lost at WrestleMania to Roman Reigns. This year, I think they're going to want the Rumble winner to win the title at WrestleMania. So, whoever is winning the Rumble will more than likely be the champion at WrestleMania. So that eliminates a lot of possibilities, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar included, and The Undertaker, in my opinion. So if the champion is going to lose the title at Mania, if the Rumble winner is going to be the champion at WrestleMania, well, then we've got a lot of possibilities. The Iron Man will probably be like Sami Zayn, because they're going to want him to have a highlight performance, I feel like. So I feel like the Iron Man's going to be Sami. And there is a chance Sami Zayn could win the Royal Rumble, because I swear to God, the easiest feud for them to book for WrestleMania will be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn for the Universal title in one of the main events of WrestleMania. That is easy mode booking. People will be invested. And it's for the biggest title on Raw. Sami Zayn could be the Rumble winner. Will he be the Rumble winner? Probably not. Let me just say that. Probably not. As much as we'd all want to see it, probably not. Seth Rollins will probably find his way into the Rumble. One way or the other, Seth Rollins will find his way into the Rumble. Will he win the Rumble? No, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see Triple H at the Rumble, eliminating Seth Rollins. Which means Seth Rollins will take somebody's space. Sorry, Primo or Epico. There will be no shining star winning the Rumble. That is a guarantee. Much like I can also guarantee there'll be no member of the Ascension winning the Royal Rumble this year. We will probably have mystery surprises. Mystery surprise returns. We could have mystery debuts. Now, does that mean Kenny Omega? Wouldn't that be something?
Not happening.
If Kenny Omega debuts, he's not going to win. But I don't think they could get out of his deal with New Japan. So, let's say Minoru Suzuki debuts at the Rumble. Nobody's tossing him over. Minoru Suzuki murder a bitch. Just saying. Possibilities. Possibilities. But Minoru Suzuki would not be in the Royal Rumble. And apparently he's challenging Okada for the IWGP World title. And he's probably going to win. Not to drag this out, not to prolong it, but most eliminations will probably go to... see, it could be weird because one year, 2012, I keep mentioning that one a whole lot. Most eliminations you'd think it was the Big Show, right? It was actually Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes had 5 eliminations that match. I think this year it'll probably be like, it might be Big Show. Actually, it'll be Braun Strowman. It'll be Braun Strowman.
It's gonna be Strowman
because they're gonna want Braun to be strong because they always want Braun looking strong.
Yeah.
So it'll be Strowman this year. Will he win the Rumble? No. There's a chance. There's probably a better chance of him winning than Sami Zayn, but it's probably not going to be him. I think the winner of the Rumble, well, I feel like it might come from Raw. If Finn Balor is cleared, it'll be Finn Balor. 100, I think about 95% it'll be Finn Balor. If he's not cleared, look for the Rumble winner to be from SmackDown. Maybe Bray Wyatt.
Right.
So my choices are Finn or Bray Wyatt, which could telegraph the fact that Randy Orton would win the title at Elimination Chamber. But WWE's never good at playing their hands.
Yeah. So it's very true.
So it could be Finn Balor. It could be Bray Wyatt. They are nice, strong choices. But if you're a Mark, if you're a Homer, Goldberg's totally going to win the Rumble, guys.
Let me first start off by saying the Kenny Omega thing got pretty much just taken out of play today because he announced that it's been announced that he's going to pretty much stay with New Japan for one more year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fairly recent story. I think it's like a couple hours ago. So, but yeah, unless he's toying with us, which could be possible, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So, that takes one possibility out of play, I suppose. This Rumble, first of all, Mike mentioned how a lot of times they're very predictable results, especially in recent years. And usually they use in every predictable result, they've used a smokescreen. In that infamous 2012 Rumble, the smokescreen was Chris Jericho. For example, this year, I think they've used a number of smoke screens because they know there's a number of possibilities. Goldberg, Lesnar, Undertaker, just the idea of these guys being in this match is a smoke screen in and of itself. Because the one thing that has come across in a lot of the talk about WrestleMania this year, and the reason why Vince has changed his mind a couple of times is because he realizes now that he does have to push the future. There was a couple years there where he was thinking about matches like Rock versus Brock and, Undertaker versus Rock. He realizes now that it's better to use these guys to put other people over or just to give them a much needed rub than to just waste them against another part-timer. And to be fair, he's right. So that's why you've seen some changes, if you've been following dirt sheets and stuff, some changes in what could be happening over these last couple weeks. And that, I think, is going to be a big theme in this match. You're going to see, I think Braun Strowman is going to definitely be the one with the most eliminations. I honestly think the Iron Man is going to be Seth Rollins. Because I think Seth Rollins is going to get into the Rumble. And you know how I think he's going to do that? I think he's going to take Sami Zayn out of it. And I think Sami Zayn, and it's going to play into a Sami Zayn storyline here where he got screwed out of an opportunity because he got caught up in this whole Triple H thing. And it's going to set him in a direction, I think. I think there was a reason why it was Sami Zayn of all people and not just some random heel. And I think Rollins gets in the match early, and Rollins is going to be made to look strong because he's got to face Triple H. And there has been attention paid to making Rollins look strong in these last couple months. So they got to find a quick way to do that, and that's the way they're going to do it. Jericho's also going to be in the Rumble too. So I think that you'll see him last quite a while in there too. He could easily be the Iron Man. I always like that they have various storylines play into the Rumble, and this year you're going to see that Rollins, Triple H. Triple H is going to show up and screw him over. Goldberg, Lesnar, Undertaker, whatever's going on with him. Jericho and Owens will probably play a role. If Finn comes back, there's a lot of opportunities for stories. The Wyatt family, so much opportunity for storylines. I think it's going to be a fun Rumble. I think there's going to be some surprises. It's gonna be the most fun Rumble, I think, in a number of years, I think. And Mike, I hate to be boring, but I'm gonna agree with Mike. I think if anybody from Raw takes it, it's Finn Balor. I guess they could always swerve us all and go back to the Undertaker, even though that hasn't been the plan. And I guess they could do that if Reigns has the title, but I don't think they want to. I don't think that's the plan. I think that right now, there's this rumor about Orton and Wyatt. There's even a rumor that Orton might win it. I think if it's somebody from SmackDown, it'll be Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt. So they can keep it in that feud. Hopefully it'll be Wyatt because Orton doesn't make much sense. Although, I guess there's a couple ways it could go there. But anyway, but I think you're right. I think they want the winner of the Rumble to win this year because they've had a couple years where that has not happened. So I think that they've gone into this thinking, it's going to go to somebody from SmackDown unless Finn Balor is cleared. We might find out for the next 24 hours if Finn's. It might leak out. I won't say it'll be officially known because they want to keep that a surprise, but it might leak out that he's clear. And if he is, then I think he's winning the Royal Rumble. And if Finn Balor wins the Royal Rumble, then I think it's obvious who will win the Universal title. I think Kevin Owens will retain it. So that's going to be the hook that decides so much if you think about it. So. I hate to make two choices like Mike, but I'm going to. I think if Finn's clear, Finn Balor wins. If he's not, then I think Bray Wyatt wins or Randy Orton. So I make three choices. It'll be one or the other. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. Should be an interesting Rumble. That's no way around it. All right, so, we've already acknowledged a couple of the stories that are out there from the dirt sheets, the potential of a Randy Orton, Randy Orton winning the Rumble, Bray Wyatt winning the Rumble, whoever doesn't win the Rumble wins the Elimination Chamber. We discussed that possibility. We obviously mentioned Roman Reigns, Undertaker. We acknowledged various different matches over the last, couple months and now, so I'm not going to acknowledge those, but there is another rumor that's been going around. One that has AJ Styles facing Shane McMahon at Mania and John Cena versus Samoa Joe. Now, we've got a number of questions about it, so I'm not going to address every single question about that. I'm just going to simply address both in one kind of statement here. I think we've already talked about this. AJ versus Shane would be a complete waste of AJ Styles. Complete waste. Okay, great. He probably gets a win, but it'd be a complete waste. That's clearly probably where they're going with this, which is stupid, but it'd be a complete waste. There's so many ways you can use AJ's talent. Cena versus Joe would be a great feud. It'd be a great match. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with that. So I'm half and half on that. Mike?
Honestly, I think Shane versus, again, I think we said this before, Shane versus AJ Styles is a waste of AJ Styles. 100%. Waste of AJ. Should not happen. Joe versus Cena, however, that's a fresh match. That's an interesting match. Now, one of the people we didn't even think about winning the Rumble was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe has a legit possibility, legit chance of winning the Rumble. There is a good chance Samoa Joe wins the Royal Rumble. Just saying that. And if that happens, John Cena is going to win the title. I feel like. But that being said, Joe versus Cena would be a great and interesting match. And yes, that I'd be very excited to see that one, because Joe versus Cena, hell yeah, count me in. AJ versus Shane, waste of time. You're better off going with AJ versus Dino again.
Yeah. Yeah, you would be. Triple H during an NXT conference call today commented on why AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows didn't go through NXT. This is what Triple H said. This is the quote. They even copy and paste the quote. How fortuitous of it for them. It's unusual for wrestlers to jump straight onto the main roster while going through NXT because the gap is too big. When asked about AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows, Triple H said, at the time, the thought process was that these guys were available and there's an opportunity there. He revealed that Styles wished he had gone through NXT, as everyone should go through that process. The learning curve is so sharp and steep on the main roster. Do you think if AJ Styles, Anderson, Gallows had gone through NXT, they would have found more success and been at a better level in WWE?
Okay.
I'll go first just because I got mine's answer is pretty quick. I think it would have helped AJ on promos a little bit. He could have kind of got a learning. He could have learned a little bit of that down in NXT. You know, plus I think he did struggle a little bit with his character when he first came to WWE. Like representing himself. That would have helped. As for Gallows and Anderson, I don't know if they would have had that much. I mean, they could have maybe fine-tuned their characters, but from a wrestling standpoint, I don't think it would have made much difference at all, to be honest. I think it just would have helped maybe from a character promo perspective. So.
All right. They don't need Gallows and Anderson in ECW.
ECW?
NXT, excuse me.
Oh.
They don't need them. Do you know why they don't need them? Because there's this tag team down there called The Revival. And Gallows and Anderson and The Revival kind of do the same thing. Only I think at this point, The Revival is a little fresher.
Right.
A little bit more fun. Not fun. No flips. Just fists. The Revival is a little bit more interesting than the club right now. And they were always a little bit more interesting than the club, to be honest with you. So there's no room for the club down in NXT because you have the Revival. And besides, there's a need for tag teams on the main roster. And you brought up American Alpha maybe a little early.
Yeah.
So you needed a team like the Club to be on the main roster. You needed them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, their mistake with the Club was they should have put the tag titles on them early, established them as the threat. So there was an opportunity to get them over. They got them over. It was great. They wasted them in the Roman Reigns program, but they should have put the tag titles on them with the New Day a long time before they lost them. So there's nothing wrong with the Club being brought up. There was no room for them in NXT. Excuse me. With AJ, all it would have done is help him with his promos. That's it. Because AJ Styles was ready as all anything. And to be fair, they needed fresh main event talent. And AJ fit the bill. So yeah, what Triple H said was fine, you know. There was needs, excuse me, on the main roster. So why even bother?
Yeah. Agreed. In recent weeks, it seems that Vince McMahon has been flip-flopping a lot on matches for Mania. Obviously, this is not something that's out of the realm, as Vince regularly changes his mind. Although it seems a lot of this is because he wants to build the future. Why did it take him so long to realize that he was letting too many opportunities to build the future pass by? And do you think that he should be giving up dream matches like Cena versus Undertaker just to build the future now? Oh my goodness, that's a loaded question.
I didn't even hear the question.
Well, okay. I'll start because I can kind of set it up. Here's the thing. Yes, he does change his mind a lot. And yes, he should have been building the future long before now. All right? I mean, they're lucky they're not in worse shape than they are. I mean, they're lucky the Shield got over, and you know they kind of rode the Shield into the ground a little bit because they relied heavily on them. Here's the thing, okay? I like the fact that his motivation behind changing plans this year was not because he just, you know, wanted to swerve the internet or whatever. It was because he legitimately wanted to build the future. I'm glad that's his motivation. Does it mean I agree with certain decisions? No, I don't think he should have taken Cena Undertaker off the table because you could say Undertaker's going to work next year and you can do that match next year, but who's to say that they're both going to be healthy again next year, or both? I mean, who's to say that Cena says who's to say Cena can even make WrestleMania next year? Maybe he's doing a movie. You know, you had the opportunity this year to do it. I would have done it. You know, so I mean, when it comes to the Cena Taker match, I think that thought process maybe shouldn't have been a factor. You know, you could have found ways to build. I mean, and let's be honest, Roman Reigns. I mean, Roman Reigns has been built up enough. You don't need to further build Roman Reigns. There's other guys that need to be built. So if your motivation behind that Undertaker Cena match being called off in favor of Undertaker Roman Reigns is to build the future, well, Roman Reigns, yeah, he's the future, but he doesn't need to be built anymore. He doesn't need that match. So that's why I don't think that motivation works for that particular change. But in terms of other changes, like instead of making the WWE title match Undertaker versus John Cena or Cena versus AJ, and you decide you want it to be Orton versus Wyatt to put Bret Wyatt over because you want to build Wyatt for the future, that's a good motivation. I don't mind that motivation. I don't mind that particular rationale with that change. It just depends on the circumstance. But in regards to Cena Undertaker, and that's what I think that everybody is, you know, upset about. You know, that's the one where everybody's like, you know what, I wish they hadn't changed that, whatever. Look, I understand it, and I agree. I don't think they should have. I don't think it was the right move, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't agree with it, but I understand the rationale. If the rationale is better than them just saying, well, they all predicted it, I'm going to change it. You know what I mean? So, all right, go ahead, Mike.
I missed the entire question.
Okay, basically it was, I just pulled it off. Basically it was, you know, Vince has been changing plans because he wants to build the future. Do you think that kind of thinking should get in the way of potential dream matches like Cena versus Undertaker? That's basically the question.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. Well. you're not sacrificing the future. Well, excuse me, you're not sacrificing dream matches for building the future, because let's face it, Undertaker is in his twilight, and that hurts me to say. And Cena is closing in on it. So it's hard to say that would be sacrificing that match. Look, if you're going to sacrifice that match so you can have the Roman Reigns versus Undertaker match, I'd say it's not worth it. But if you have the John Cena versus Undertaker, well, excuse me, if you have like if you're sacrificing that for, let's say, Bray Wyatt or Kevin Owens, yeah, then that's fine, because look, Bray Wyatt and Kevin Owens, these guys are going to be around. And they're going to be the guys, two of the guys carrying your company.
Right.
Long past Undertaker and Cena. Even though these two guys are not super young, it doesn't matter. These two guys are going to be carrying your brand for a very, very long time. So is it okay to sacrifice these dream matches for the future now? Like, no. There's ways you can do both. There's ways you can make both important. But it's WWE, and they don't know how to do that. And I guess the first part of the question is, Vince McMahon changes his mind a lot? Yes, he does. All the time.
Daily. Minutes.
You know how they sometimes have a script for Raw in advance until Vince McMahon gets at it. And usually he has to be talked out of having Roman Reigns win.
Yeah.
That's for the best.
Recently it was revealed that Road Dogg would be taking over taking the writing duties, head writing duties at SmackDown. Do you think, what kind of impact do you think this will make on SmackDown? Okay, hang on a second, because this question is there was an article because this story got out I think on Monday or Tuesday. And since then, it's gotten out that he's always been involved. First of all, he's always been involved in booking. Ryan Ward is still the lead writer on SmackDown. That hasn't changed. That the first report I think wasn't very detailed enough. I guess Road Dogg just has a little bit more power than he did, which again I don't understand the difference. He still had power, quite a bit of power anyway. So not really sure why this is even a story. So I don't expect anything to change. I think SmackDown's pretty much going to be the same as it's been, because I don't think anything. I think people are just surprised to see Road Dogg has that much power. I think that's really what the gist of it is. So, yeah, no impact. Mike, I don't know if you want to answer, because to me that question's kind of off, but whatever.
No.
Okay, because that got kind of cut. That whole story got kind of cut down the next day. All right. Let's see here. Bearing in mind all the recent rumors and what the potential card looks like it could be, what should main event WrestleMania?
Which should main event WrestleMania? Not Roman Reigns. Good night, everybody.
I think that's hard.
In short, if it's truly Undertaker's last match, then it's easy. It's The Undertaker, period. End of story. Good night. If it's not The Undertaker's last match, then it probably just will be Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg 3.
Yeah. I think right now, if you were to ask somebody backstage, they would probably say it's likely going to be Lesnar Goldberg. But I think a lot depends. You know, if something did, like if there was a huge swerve or change and it was Undertaker's last, like Mike said, Undertaker's last match, or Undertaker was in a title match, then that would be the main event. You know, but I think right now it's probably Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Should that be? I don't know. Well, let's find out. We'll find out when we know the whole card. You know, it's kind of hard. I mean, sometimes I think you let the hottest angle dictate it. You know, if you go into the, I mean, whatever you go into the WrestleMania is the hottest angle, the angle that people seem the most invested in, probably could make that decision for you if you think about it. So, you guys didn't really have any wrestling awards. Who do you think for 2016 was the best superstar, the worst superstar, and the breakout star of the year? You're right.
Really? All right. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I already have that prepared. I was expecting that question. Yes, we did not do wrestling year-end awards. We're gonna have we probably should have done that. I apologize. I think I said we were gonna do it. We just never did because of time. But all right, I have this one prepared. Superstar of the year. I'm gonna give Chris Jericho because he pretty much reinvented himself completely and was like the hottest act on Raw for the whole second half of the year. Worst superstar of the year, I'm going to say Dean Ambrose because he was disappointing for most of the last half of the year. He got the WWE title, and then as soon as he got the ball, he was basically made the face of SmackDown, and he just got lost. Like, I don't know what happened. He's gotten better of late. He seems to be getting back on track, but to me, he was a disappointment. I'd call him most disappointing, not necessarily the worst, but still. And my breakout star of the year, wow, I have two. I think Charlotte is one because I think she's really coming to her own. Really coming to her own. And the second one would be Braun Strowman. So there you go, Mike.
Okay. All right. This might surprise you.
I'm sure it will.
It might. Not breakout. Superstar of the year? AJ Styles. AJ Styles probably had the best year of anybody and the roster. Came in, debuted in the Rumble, had a WrestleMania match, lost to Chris Jericho, put Roman Reigns' title reign on the map. And then had 3 great matches with Cena. Won the title off of Dean Ambrose, carried the SmackDown brand. Had probably the single greatest match in 2016 when he absolutely murderized James Ellsworth. I got to give some respect where it's due. AJ Styles, I feel like, was the superstar of the year. Now, and most of the matches he had were fantastic matches. He's had some underrated gems too in 2016. There was a Money in the Bank qualifier between him and Kevin Owens that was very good. It was on a random Raw, so it was like, but it was worth it. It was a very good match. AJ Styles. So was my superstar of the year. My disappointing, because worst is
a bad term.
It's but all right. I'm gonna go with disappointing wrestler of the year, and I have 4.
Oh.
Do you want to know who my 4 most disappointing wrestlers of the year are?
This
is a 4-way tie. First is Roman Reigns.
Oh.
His ring work has improved. His character work has not.
Mm-hmm.
His promos, well, he stopped. He talked less, so it's an improvement. But just the situations he's in, and the fact that they always keep going to him, and like, all right, so he's not the champion for a while. Oh well, they're starting to react to him again. So let's put him right back to the championship match, and they kill his reactions. They boom. It's just at some point it takes a toll, and I think his matches have kind of gotten a little bit lazy at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just I'm disappointed with the whole. It's not even so much him. It's just the whole Roman Reigns situation. The sooner we drop the whole Roman Reigns is the future to, hey, do you know who would be a good heel? Roman Reigns. The sooner we get to that part, the better. Roman isn't a face anymore. He cannot be a face. In fact, he'd probably get bigger face reactions if he were an actual face.
Yeah.
Number 2, my most disappointing wrestler of the year was, and I agree with you, Dean Ambrose.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I don't blame him for Brock Lesnar shitting the bed on the WrestleMania match. I don't blame him for that one. But I blame him for that lackluster match he had with Chris Jericho. I blame him for the lackluster title run he had. And it was only like 3 months. And he had one great match, the Shield match, which he won. He won Money in the Bank. Great match. That Dolph Ziggler match was supposed to put him on the map. Supposed to put SmackDown on the map. Shit the bed. Whole thing with Ellsworth. It was good for a couple weeks. After that, man, it just dragged on too long. And then here we are. Miz carries that Intercontinental title so well. And by the way, Miz would be the other superstar of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Because what he did was outstanding. Miz carries that title, makes it important, makes it a focal point of the show. Dean has it. You don't even know he has it. That was the other criticism I had of Roman Reigns. You're given the title to do something with it. Make something with it. Miz, through most of the year, gave a master class on it. Miz made the mid-card title important. Roman Reigns looked like he didn't give 2 shits about it. Dean Ambrose doesn't look like he gives 2 shits about the Intercontinental title. And this is after Miz spent the better part of 2016 making that thing important.
Right.
So Dean Ambrose is the Intercontinental Champion, doesn't give a crap about it. So Dean Ambrose, despite this being his banner year, it's just disappointment. Disappointment abound. Number 3, and it's not entirely his fault, is Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
He came back from injury. He was hotter than ever, and he was a heel. All right, he was a heel. But he was interesting. He won the title from Roman Reigns. That was great. Lost the title to Dean Ambrose. Okay, still on board. It was great. You know, people wanted to cheer Seth Rollins the moment he came back, and if they had pulled the trigger and said, all right, he's a face again, he probably would have gotten bigger cheers against Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, it's like, okay, it's not even his fault because Triple H, he screwed Rollins that one night and then disappeared completely. So what was Rollins supposed to do? He went after Owens for like 3 months, and I swear to God, right now, I would kill for another Seth Rollins Kevin Owens match over the Roman Reigns Kevin Owens. I'd kill for it. But he's just been kind of there as a face. He's finally coming into his own, but we're getting closer to WrestleMania season, and they're starting to push the Triple H thing a little bit more. But we're in 2017. So from his comeback to the end of 2016, it was kind of just like there. He had some high points, some points, but it's not like what you expect from Seth Rollins.
Right.
But again, that was more of the situation around him. And I think number 4 is definitely Dolph Ziggler. He had a good promo. He had maybe a couple good promos. And that's it. And he had all right matches all through the year. But when given the chance to run with it, he shit the bed. And he looks like he doesn't even care half the time. Hard to get behind a faces like that. So those are my 4 disappointing guys. All 3 members of the Shield. And Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler.
And the breakout stars, I completely agree with you. I think Charlotte really came into her own. I'm going to add Becky Lynch to that. Becky Lynch came to her own as the mega face of the women's division. And I agree with Braun Strowman. Fucking amazing, man. He went from greener than goose shit to still pretty green, but we're behind him now because he murdered James Ellsworth.
He's entertaining as hell.
Because he's entertaining. So, yeah, I'm all for Braun Strowman now. He is definitely the male breakout star. And I think Charlotte and Becky Lynch are the two female breakout stars.
Yeah. And this one thing, I'd probably say Sasha Banks and Bayley, kind of like most disappointing too, but for different reasons, you know?
Yeah.
And one of our fans asked us while we were doing that, they said, what would you guys say was the feud of the year and the pay-per-view of the year? I'll do this quick. Pay-per-view of the year was Money in the Bank.
I go with that.
Easily. The Ambrose thing, the Money in the Bank match, the AJ Styles versus John Cena. If it's not Money in the Bank, I think it's Battleground because the Shield main event triple threat was awesome.
No, I disagree with you. That wasn't even the best match on the show.
Oh, yeah, Owens versus Zayn. Well, so, okay, but if it's not Money in the Bank, it's Battlegrounds.
It's one of those two shows. I agree with you.
Yeah. Before the brand split. And my feud of the year, I probably would go. I won't go with Sasha Charlotte because Hot Shot in the title round kind of hurt it a lot. Even though it makes sense now. Cena Styles. Because it was the first feud in a long time with a top star that I felt like it actually went the way it should have. You know, it was bad. I mean, it reminded me of the Wyatt Reigns angle last year where both guys got something out of it. So, quick, Mike, you got any?
Battleground and Money in the Bank.
Feud?
Feud of the year? I think you're wrong.
Okay.
Feud of the year, I think it was Owens versus Zayn.
Of course you did. Of course.
Tell me what. All right, but am I wrong though?
Cena Styles.
It's the only other feud that equaled it, but we're not talking about NXT though, so.
Oh Jesus.
There's a problem. Because if we were talking about NXT, it'd be Revival versus DIY, man.
Oh God.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Don't worry. I'm sure Owens and Zayn will be feuding again, so we can name them feud of the year again.
You know what's funny? You could name that feud of the year every year, and it would apply.
It would apply. It definitely would apply. Last question. It's a quick one, so that's good. Other than Samoa Joe, do you guys see anybody else from NXT making impact in either the Rumble or throughout WrestleMania season?
Yes. Yes.
I think you're going to get at least one debut in the Rumble. I'm maybe going to say Ty Dillinger, maybe. I don't know if he'll have much of an impact, though. I think there's a possibility of somebody else. You know how Zayn kind of came on a few weeks before the Rumble, before Mania last year?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If they don't do it then, they'll do it the night after Mania, and that person would be Shinsuke Nakamura. Other than that, I don't see anybody before Mania factoring in, or the night after Mania factoring in. Mike, you got anything else to add before I move on?
Really quickly. I do agree with you. I think Ty Dillinger will be at the Rumble and spot number 10.
Yeah, of course.
See, that's easy booking. And I think you probably will see a tag team come up.
Okay.
And I think that tag team is going to be the Revival.
Okay.
Because I think they're running NXT, I think, just concluded.
Yeah.
So they're looking to bring the Revival up. And the big face debut is going to be Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point where it's time. And when he comes up in a Smark town, it'll be fun.
I think, you know what, for what it's worth, I think you're right. I think it's more, Shinsuke is more of a night after Mania event. Revival might be the one before Mania. You're right about that, I think. I don't know if they have. I don't know if Nakamura would work the same way that did Zayn last year by having him a couple weeks before Mania, just toss him out there. I don't think that would be a good thing to do.
No, Nakamura's the night after Mania guy.
Kind of shock everybody, bring him out, and then immediately put him in a main feud. That would be kind of what you'd want to do with him.
So, which would probably work depending on the show he's on. Probably Raw.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something. It could figure into the Universal title plans or something. I don't know what their game plan is there, but I agree with you on that. Yeah. All right, so we answered a lot of questions. We did a lot. That's it. We're done. As always, show is over. It does not mean you have to stop interacting and contributing to our show. Continue to have your voice heard. Send us your questions or comments, reactions, comments or opinions on things we said, things we said on the show, things we talked about, topic ideas, breaking news items, sports, entertainment, or wrestling that you want us to cover. Questions about the show and the scheduling of the show.
Excuse me.
Any in the Spotlight Film Awards submissions, remember they can only be done by email only. Questions can be by email, Facebook, or Twitter, but submissions by email only. So, all right, all of this you can do anytime you wish. You can email us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Please remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411. For anything you tweet regarding our show. If you're tweeting about wrestling, you can also use hashtag ITS Wrestling or football, hashtag ITS Football, whatever you want to do. But just use hashtag ITS in there. It helps promote us a little bit. You can also find us on Facebook. Just make sure you search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook, and then make sure that you like our fan page once you find it. We are encouraging feedback. Continue to send us your feedback, please. It's big and big for us. It's helpful, so please continue to do that. We encourage you to follow us on social media, on our Facebook and Twitter for the latest information about the show. Obviously, last-minute delays and postponements can happen. And so that's very important that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook and Twitter. You can search for In the Spotlight 411. And once you do that, you will find us and be able to, follow us and get the latest information about the show. And we also post random things on there as well. So make sure that you do that so you get get access to all that. I'm using the word "that" a lot tonight. It's weird. It's been a long week.
Sure.
All right. So if you like to keep up with our show and look back at classic episodes, you can do all that in one of two ways. You can either stream us anytime you wish on Google Plus and YouTube. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to every episode we've ever produced for Google Plus and YouTube, which is everything from mid-October 2015 all the way to tonight's episode here. All those episodes are available to you to stream anytime you wish. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Google Plus and YouTube. You can also find us on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, should you prefer audio versions of our show. Maybe you want to listen to us on the go. Maybe prefer that to streaming. Whatever the case, you can find us on Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411, and you'll have access to not only recent episodes of our show, but episodes from way back when. Every episode we've ever done, the 6.5 years we've been doing this show, is available to you on those two sites. So once you search for us on those sites, you'll have access to our show pages, and you'll find every episode we ever produced in order from most recent to the oldest. Everything from our original Blog Talk Radio run, everything from our Talk Shoe run, and of course, everything from our Google Plus and YouTube run, mid-October 2015, all the way to tonight's episode available to you. And all those Google Plus YouTube episodes have been transferred into audio format for your convenience. So maybe you're a longtime fan and wants to listen to an episode from 4 or 5 years ago, or a new fan and wants to listen to an episode like that for the first time. Or maybe you want to keep up on recent episodes. If any of that applies to you, you can do all that on Podbean and iTunes. Just search for In the Spotlight 411. So you can stream us on Google Plus and YouTube. You can listen to us on Podbean and iTunes. Make sure you search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites, and search for In the Spotlight 411 on all those sites to keep up with the show, watch or listen to classic episodes. Just make sure that you utilize those resources. Very, very, very helpful. I want to thank Mike for being here tonight. Thank you, Mike.
Time for bed.
Thank myself for another great show. Have my back, and thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching or listening to this at some other point later, thank you to you as well. That is it for our primetime shows tonight. Tomorrow will be our last In the Spotlight Football Blitz for the season. Scheduled for 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll look back at last week's conference championship games. Spoiler alert, we won't be doing much with them. There wasn't a lot to talk about. And And then, of course, looking ahead to the Super Bowl, which is still a week from Sunday, we'll give our general overview of the Super Bowl. That will be our last football blitz for the season. All further football coverage will be on our usual sports shows on Tuesdays or Thursdays. We have to switch them for some reason. So keep that in mind. So tomorrow, the last edition of the Football Blitz, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, that could be give or take a few minutes as usual. Could be a little late. Next week, we're back down to 2 shows as tomorrow's the last Football Blitz. On Tuesday, Sports Entertainment Combo Show. TV highlights of the week, box office beat. We'll do a Super Bowl preview. We'll do some college basketball, all that on Tuesday. On Thursday, we will have our whole show will be devoted. Oh, also on Tuesday, we'll do some wrestling, Royal Rumble fall, all that good stuff. Thursday, we will announce the 7th annual In the Spotlight Film Award nominations. Obviously, the nomination ballot was tonight. That has come and gone. So next Thursday, February the 2nd, we will announce the nominees for the 7th annual In the Spotlight Film Awards. I don't think it's being overconfident for me to tell you that it'll probably be better than the Oscar nominations. So we'll do that next Thursday. For those wondering when we're going to do our first edition of the Bracket Bugle for college basketball, that will be a week from Tuesday. So that will be coming back. So keep that in mind as well. So a little bit. So that's what's going on next week, tomorrow, and gave you real insight into the week after when we see the Bracket Bugle make its comeback. So with all that being said, if you are a Football Blitz fan and you check us and you watch or listen to the show, we'll talk to you tomorrow for the last edition of the Football Blitz for this season. Now, again, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, give or take a few minutes tomorrow. If you're not a Football Blitz fan and you're just checking us out, you check us out in prime time primarily, then our next show will be for you next Tuesday, which is January the 31st at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So whether we talk to you tomorrow or talk to you again on Tuesday, hope you have a great weekend. Football Blitz fans, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Otherwise, see you guys next week. Have a good night, everybody.